You just reminded me of an amazing story from a mentor of mine, Wayne, who is retired now, highly successful, came from nothing, and owns, I think, 5 or 6 homes across the world, has an extensive car collection, has just some of the greatest flash and flair ever. And when we first started connecting, I asked him a question. I said, how did you know when you had made it? How did you know you were successful? And he said, Brent, if you measure success by the jewelry I wear and the clothes that are the cars that I have, I could call 10 people right now that would say I'm a failure. And I was like, oh man, that's such this great moment. He's like, if anything, I feel like I'm a failure because I failed to effectively succession plan for my business, which he had built this wealth management company. And that he felt that when he stepped away from the firm and retired, that he didn't think the company would survive at the time when we connected, and felt that that was a huge piece that he had failed to uncover of most of the relationships that the firm had were his, that he had brought in. And how do you create that trust of this expert who's got arguably 50, maybe 60 years of experience in the space to go, I'm stepping away, and Dave here, who's got 15 or 20 or whatever it may be, or 30 or 40, he's going to take care of you now, and those systems. So I mean, yeah, do you think, is it a trust piece for those people? Is it just not maybe having the tools? How do you help them see that they're hurting themselves by not investing in that succession planning much earlier? And then maybe another flag to plant on before we get to that is the workforce coming up, and as part of succession planning, maybe how we can try to enable or help them at an early stage get to the point where that's something they're ready for down the road. I don't know if that's relevant, but it just popped in my head.
Yeah, no, so with the younger folks, they're not necessarily the ones who are driving. They're not in the driver's seat for this one. It's kind of like the leadership team or whoever's leading an organization needs to take the step. They need to understand that they're the ones who need to start this process.
Right.
You can always have conversations with people who are in other positions or positions of power in your organization, of course, and you can try to influence that. But unless that leadership understands that this is important or is necessary, you're going to have a pretty big uphill battle. One of the spaces where we find a lot of this shows up in really kind of tricky ways is in family businesses. Because in family businesses, you sometimes have different generations in an organization, and the expectation is that the other generation is going to take over. But what happens when that generation is not able to take over, or they don't have the right skill set to take over? How do you mentor them up into these other positions? In a corporate world, it's a little bit easier because you can either beg, borrow, or steal, or mentor people into it, right? So you could literally, like your friend, he probably went out and he probably advertised for someone with a very particular skill set to take over his organization. You'd obviously want to steal someone from one of the other big houses who might be a little bit tired of company politics or what have you, and they want to come to a smaller firm. That's generally how a lot of these smaller firms continue, is really just utilizing talent from other places. In some cases, actually, some of them just decide we're just going to shut our doors and that's it. We're done.
Right.
So that's it really depends on what they want to do. But some people want to leave a lasting legacy. Some people just, let's sell, or let's, what are the different pathways? So it really just depends.